What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today we're going to talk about Mary. If it wasn't confusing enough that Netflix has Maria, they also have Mary. So they have Mary and Maria that are releasing less than a week apart from each other on Netflix. Hilarious. So make sure you get the right movie. One of them has Angelina Jolie. One of them is boring. Actually, the other one is, I'm not gonna say like Maria's like the most exciting thing ever, but you've definitely seen Mary before. This one is directed by DJ Caruso. It does have audio description done by International Digital Center, narrated by Jamie Lemchek. Interesting that we didn't include a writer this time. IDC has been really clutch about getting a narrator and a writer in. I was surprised. I was like, did they stop that from happening? Did they not want a writer associated with? Weird. Um, but yeah, this is like the origin story of Jesus. It was shocking, I know. Like you've never seen this before. It stars a whole bunch of people you've never heard of, and then Anthony Hopkins. So it's basically just like the TV show he just did, Those About to Die, and where he's like for some reason the only like he's the big name there, and like everybody else is like, who are you? And you have to like IMDb them to figure out like where you've seen them before. It's the same thing here. Like he plays Herod, and then there's like a whole bunch of other people around him, and you're like, I don't know any of these people. Um, Basically, this film is for anybody who watched Journey to Bethlehem last year and was like, I want to see this movie, but not a musical. And for some reason, like almost almost too serious. I want it to feel like it has like this weird energy to it. Like it starts off in a way where I was like, oh, this could be interesting, because it felt like it was like about like Mary is about to be like in a John Wick movie. Like it has a very sort of different energy to it, like with the score and the way that you use the pounding of the drums and stuff, and you're like, oh my god, this is gonna be like an action packed Mary. Oh, this is DJ Caruso is gonna do something. The director of Triple X, Return of Xander Cage, is he's got a different take on Mary. It's gonna be great. No, it's the same take. It's the same, it's just straight up. It's the same story. It's the same thing you've seen before, just with different actors, a little bit of a different story. Gabriel still comes in and talks to Mary. He still goes and talks to Herod. Herod's losing his mind. It's the same story you've seen done to death over and over and over. Mary and Joseph, and he realizes, and Mary is a virgin and has this thing, and Joseph is like, oh my god, I still have to do my bidding and protect her, and the birth. It's funny how little the birth sequence actually takes up of this movie. I don't even mind spoiling this because it's the fucking Bible, man. Yes, I use the F word in this movie, but the appropriate time. Like for people who are like, spoilers, get out of here. Like, like, I'm sorry I spoiled to you the fact that Jesus gets born in a manger. I'm sorry that you didn't know that. um, so yeah, this is. I don't really know what to say about this except for the fact that when you at first I was like DJ Caruso, and then I was like, um, for DJ Caruso, I tend to remember the two movies of his that I liked, which were Disturbia and Eagle Eye. Interestingly, both Shia LaBeouf movies. I didn't hate Triple X Return of Xander Cage compared to what it was. I thought it was fairly entertaining. It's not like the most amazing movie, and it's sort of like action popcorn bullshit fun, But he's got a host of movies. I Am Number Four was like okay, but he's got like Taking Lives, Two for the Money, The Disappointments Room. DJ is such an uneven director. Um, and he's got movies I haven't even heard of. I'm just like, I don't even know what that is. So, yeah, and he's done a lot of TV direction as well. So, um, not necessarily the most auteur of directors to try to put their stamp on this experience. I had heard that Zack Snyder wanted to make a movie like this, but that hasn't come to fruition because he's too busy making Rebel Moon. Um, but sort of after his daughter's death, there was a rumor that he was going to make like a biblical movie. Uh, to my knowledge, that hasn't happened. After his daughter's death, he redid Justice League. He made a zombie movie for Netflix, and then he made Rebel Moon. So he hasn't done anything remotely biblical. Like he's done actually a lot of sort of heavy content that's very R-rated. Nothing that seems remotely religious. So, um, I don't know. DJ doesn't bring anything new here, and this movie is dull and lifeless as a result. Mainly because it's, I mean, like, you can do this once, and then we can have this movie, and then be like, okay, well, we have this movie. But like, when you look at this movie and you're like, okay, so I literally just saw this movie last year, and it had a musical, and at least that offered a fresh perspective to it. Journey to Bethlehem, which I did not give that bad of a grade to, by the way. I think I gave it like a B minus or a B or something like that. I thought Antonio Banderas was fun in that. So at least it had its own way of telling that story. This is just like, why are we doing this? Do you did nobody know that this has been done before? Like, why do we keep making the same story, but then there's no vision here? Nobody's making any choices. I would say like the score is different because the score is far more intense than the movie is, but then that just means that the score makes no sense for the movie. You know what I'm saying? Like the score the whole time is this like, it feels like it's an action movie, but no action ever actually. There's no action in this movie. I mean, there's like a little bit when people like push and shove each other, or like I think Joseph gets into like a fight when somebody like makes fun of Mary for being pregnant. But so I mean, like, there's, I guess, low vision, low, but it's not the kind that feels like matches the score. So the score feels very out of place. It's like DJ Caruso was incapable of directing a straight up drama, so he needed that music to feel like he had directed something that was more exciting than it was. Anthony Hopkins is good here, but it's not anything that he, uh, I mean, he just, that dude will show up for anything at this point. Like, I was going through all the Transformers movies because of Transformers 1. He's in Transformers Last Night. I can't say that he's bad in it, but there's nothing about the performance that's like atrocious. But clearly Anthony Hopkins, like, if you like Uber him to set, he'll say whatever you need him to say with a paycheck. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I, I'm I'm surprised he's not gonna start appearing like in random indie movies. Like, this movie has no budget, but it has Anthony Hopkins in it. you know, like, I feel like that's about to happen because he just seems to say yes to anything now. Like he's taking this whole like I'm close to death thing. I'm up there in age, and being like I must say yes to every project that's handed to me, no matter what. And I really want to see somebody test him with that. Like, I want to see him in the weirdest shit. Like, please offer Anthony Hopkins all of your weird movies. Give him, I don't know. Let's get him in Sonic the Hedgehog. Let's get him in. If the dude wants to tank his career and his reputation, let's double down on it. Let's pull him into the stupidest, worst movies and see if he'll say yes to them. Like, keep offering him movies that you would never offer Anthony Hopkins, and he'll probably say yes to them. As long as there's, I don't mean, does he even need the money, or does he just want work? Because he's got to have enough money. So by this point, to be able to live out the remainder of his days, it's just like he must want work. So just offer him work. See what you could. Let's get him into some weird. Let's see if we can get him in the Karate Kid movie or something. Like, I want to see him pop up in the most random places. So yeah, he's here just like Antonio Banderas anchored Journey to Bethlehem. They paid one actor to come in and play Herod. It's always funny that it's Herod too. So yeah, this is boring. Audio description was fine though. I mean, International News Center. I feel bad that I can't say who the writer was, but Jamie did a nice job narrating. Her tone matches. her tone is both oddly incorrect and correct at the same time because her tone is actually what the movie is. It's just that the score doesn't match the movie. So the score makes you think the movie's more intense than it is, but when you actually break down, if you strip the movie of its score, you would realize that Jamie Lemchek's um, uh, sort of like laid back, dramatic approach to this film is absolutely what this film needs. Like, otherwise, the score feels like it's a William Michael Redmond production. You know, like it needs somebody who comes in here who's like ready to kick some ass. And that's why at the beginning of the film I was like, are we about to do like a John Wick Mary? No, it's just this weird score that has nothing to do with the rest of the movie. So it's not the worst movie I've seen this year, but certainly Netflix, I don't know what you're doing here. And DJ Caruso is way out of his depth here. I don't know that he has any idea. This isn't even his first faith-based movie, by the way. I actually Redeeming Love was okay. I saw that, and that was faith-based. And I think one of the reasons it was passable was because DJ Caruso did do it. Because sometimes faith-based movies have people who have no idea what the concept of filmmaking is. So it ends up being that. And that was a unique story in and of itself. And I'd much rather watch Redeeming Love again than I would Mary. Because there are like 100 versions of this story. There's only one Redeeming Love. So while the story of Redeeming Love is not necessarily one that you want to revisit over and over, I would still give the edge to that in terms of DJ Caruso. I guess he's jumping into faith-based cinema now. I don't know. But this didn't work for me. It won't work for you unless you just need every little bit of religious themed. But you're just going to watch this and be like, but I've seen this and it was better over here. I promise you this is not going to be your favorite adaptation of this source material. So I'm gonna give Mary a C minus. I would not. Nah, this is rotten for me. But on the higher end because there has been some stuff this year, and even DJ Caruso's like worst film is somewhat competently directed, and I think based on what I looked at, based on what I saw, I would say his worst film for me is Taking Lives. And Taking Lives, if it was released in this year, I still would have it like a C minus D plus above like everything else this year. Um, the rest of the crap. So he still manages to be. He's like a Brett Ratner, in so much that he manages to produce things that are not all the way at the bottom. You know. Rennie Harlan lost that ability. Now he's directing The Strangers Chapter One. He used to also kind of be like that, but now that talent is gone. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.